Welcome, 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 you bunch of lunatics, to episode 3 of the Mad Chatter. We've got a couple special guests tonight that we're going to talk to. William Albright waiting patiently as always. Good man. Southern Comic Geek. What's up, brother? J1 A Bob. How are you, my friend?
Started having a coughing fit as soon as you brought us up. And I'm like, oh, God.
All right. So tonight we're going to do a couple different things. And actually, a couple things that I'm really excited about that I've really kind of wanted as something we can focus on from episode to episode with different people. I like to bring members in the community on, maybe to talk about their journey into comics. When did you find comics? Have you always been a fan?
Right. What brought them here and everything else.
Exactly. Why are you here? How'd you find us? What's in the, what do you like? What are you reading? Because tonight, you and I, after our show, will be joining Poser again for Shop Talk.
Absolutely. And it's about time, I might say.
Yeah. So he's been missing in action for a little bit, busy. So tonight, I believe,
search parties were warranted.
The anime spectacular we're gonna do.
Oh wait, and the big giveaways.
Oh, his 1250 subscriber giveaway.
Yep. 1,250 subscriber giveaways. So we're gonna be giving away a bunch of stuff and talking comics.
Yeah, I believe Poser's got at least 2 slabs he's gonna give away. 2 pretty big slabs. So that's gonna be fun tonight. I'm not a big anime guy. I'm kind of dipping my toes into the water, so to speak. But I've enjoyed some suggestions from you, Mr. Abob, who actually does know his way around some anime.
Unfortunately, yes. It would be as much as I know about comics and everything else, I probably know just as much about anime and manga. Because it's literally the reverse of the same coin.
It is. And tonight, I'm sure I'll go into detail about what I like and don't like about it.
So that's fair.
Speaking of manga, you don't by any chance have that one book sitting close to you, do you?
I could get it real easy.
Could you? Yeah. This is one of the first books you ever showed me that I was
blown away.
Absolutely blown away. Never seen one in real life. Don't think I'll ever see one in real life, especially with the pedigree that the book you own has.
Well, there's more of these out there.
There are, but the chances
of only nine in the world like mine.
Right. And I told you were asking about selling. I said I would not even try to sell this anywhere else besides Heritage.
So since then, I found a little something extra, and I'll show the little something extra first.
Okay. Here, let me make you big.
Okay. This is the May 2009 Free Comic Book Day. Talking about Stan Lee and Hiroyuki Takai's Ultimo. Experiment in Action. This was a team up of pretty much America's best comic book guy and Japan's best manga guy teaming up to create their own, right? So this was the Free Comic Book Day special that kind of just released it to the U.S.
Oh, did you see? Actually, I just thought about this. Did you see? Sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
The guy that did which manga? Was it Dragon Ball Z or just died?
No, who died?
Dragon Ball Z. Like literally, I don't know if it was today or yesterday.
No, man, that's crazy. I had no idea.
Yu-Gi-Oh
Right.
creator.
Yu-Gi-Ohs.
Yeah, Takahashi Kazuki
Yeah.
died at 60.
So I'm not taking this out of the bag because I don't like putting it on my hands, but I will undo the bag and everything else and make it so it's nice and open and everything so you can see it. But this is Shonen Jump Square number 2, Jump Square second from June of 2009. At the 2009 New York Comic Con, Viz Media and Stan Lee gave 10 copies of this book, which has the preview and premiere of Stan Lee's Ultimo in it. And I have pictures and everything else to go with it, but we have Stan Lee's SIG and we have Hiroshi Takai's SIG, the two creators of Ultimo. The only way you could have gotten this was there at that con. They never did any other copies this way. So there's 10 of them out there in the world just like this. And that's it.
Yeah. That is incredible. Like
rarity is rare.
2 mega icons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw that picture you sent me. Is that real?
I think so.
All right, I'm gonna have to look that up and confirm it because
I'd like to
if it's true,
that, and then we can talk about it.
Yes, if that is in fact true,
right?
So why don't we go ahead and we're gonna bring in Zion Comix, one of our newer community members and our esteemed guest first.
Numero uno.
Yeah, number 1. So we'll go ahead and make you small, and we'll bring Zion in. Zion, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, guys?
Nothing.
How you doing, bud?
Man, I'm doing about as good as good can get.
That I understand.
Well, I got a southern accent, so it's a little thick. I apologize. Forgive me.
Oh man, don't worry about it.
Don't you worry about it, sugar.
I grew up in Indiana, lived in Kentucky, Mississippi, Texas, Oklahoma. Yeah. If you want me to, I'll turn my southern on if it'll make you feel better.
Oh, bless your heart.
It's all you, brother.
It ain't another thing, but okay. Easy.
All right. Let's see. We got to say hi to.
We
got to say hi to Evan, Kenneth Bird. Always glad to see you. Never misses. For Pete Sake. Pete, good to see you, brother. Ty Salazar. Great to see you, my friend. Let's see who else we got. RMI also in the background waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Zion, so kind of explain to us when did you come into comics? Have you always been a comic guy, or are you kind of what's up?
So early on, I was like a Pokemon guy, like when I was younger, right? Never got into reading comics or nothing like that. Didn't know anybody that had comics. Just recently, we had a guy that started working here at the shop, and he was a comic guy, and he was talking all these numbers and certain issues and this character and that character, and I'm like, okay, I'll look out for it. I ain't never looked for comics ever.
Yeah.
So, one day I was walking through a flea market, and I come across some comics, and I was like, okay, and I like art, so it kind of drew me in. The cover art drew me in, and so it kind of just went from there. I just got my first book, kind of looked at the art, read it, and
Well,
kind
what
of
was your
enjoyed
first?
it. And then
What was
Yeah, I
your
was gonna
first
say,
book?
what was your first book?
it was an off brand. I think it was like a Harbinger. I think it was a Harbinger book. I just kind of stashed it
Harbinger?
away.
Yeah,
Hey,
Yeah,
they just restarted Harbinger back up, and
yeah,
it's
they did.
yeah,
good.
and I have quite a few of them now. As
Okay.
well, because I bought a collection from somebody, so I'm still kind of going through it, sort through it. But it's got quite a bit of Harbinger in it. I'd say probably about 20 books, maybe.
Nice.
Okay.
But but
Did you?
he ended up opening up a little store, which if anybody's ever been to my Instagram, you kind of see the store there. I work with them there as well as our day job. So it's just kind of like a fun hobby, man. I've gotten into it and I'm hooked to it. Uh, kind of got my own little characters that I like. I recently started looking at horror, older
Yeah.
horrors, like super cool art. I love the art style. And
Oh, absolutely.
that's just kind of where it started, man. Just some guy that just started working with me and wanted to talk with me about some comics.
Yeah.
And
And you listened.
well, yeah, man. I mean, I've always had an interest in. I mean, y'all were speaking about Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh earlier. Like, I was into that stuff at a young age.
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't have a comic upbringing, and it's just a start.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just starting a hunt.
I went into my first comic shop to buy magic cards because I thought they were cool. I heard some guys at school were playing it, and I was like, "What are those? Those look kind of cool." And I went into the comic shop because I saw a magic uh, poster in the window. I mean, this was 19. Jeez,
Don't date yourself.
I know, 89 or 90. I can't remember. This was still during beta. I'll put it that way for Magic. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's how I got. And I went in there and I saw my first Daredevil book and loved it.
I've actually never been into Magic at all,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think so. Magic's the card game, correct?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I made a joke a couple weeks ago. I went to a local LCS here, and went back to the shop, and I was talking to Dan, and I said, "Man, going through the dollar bins, I got a ton of dollar bin books. So I was just kind of scrolling through there to see if I could find anything neat. And the whole time they got a tournament going on behind me, Magic. And I told Dan when I got back, I said, man, I said, I spent some time there. I said, I've learned more about Magic looking for comics than I've ever learned about Magic. The chatter and talking about it is awesome.
I
It's
haven't played it since I
its
was a
own
kid,
world.
but I know
Yeah.
the rules have gotten quite a bit more extensive
Yeah.
since
Yeah,
I played
they
it when I was a kid. So,
I played when I was a kid. I didn't have any cards. I used my friends
yeah,
just because he wanted somebody to play with.
yeah.
Like,
That's the same thing. I bought I think like an Ice Age starter deck with my allowance.
Yep.
And it was me and my buddy split up the deck to play it. So we were both playing with half a deck. Imagine that.
So what's your favorite title right now?
Man,
Current title that
I
anything
don't.
you're reading right now in production.
So it's hard for me. I work a lot, so
Yeah.
I haven't been reading very much. I've
Dude,
been
it's
just
okay.
collecting art that I like at the moment.
Yeah.
Dude,
read a
that's
little bit of
90%
Moon
of the
Knight.
community.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people
Yeah.
like
So bad.
the art, which I can't disparage them for liking the art at all.
Okay. I have been trying to read, guys. Okay, I've read a Moon Knight book. I've been trying to read. But I've really gotten into like the living mummy style art.
Okay.
Yeah, that stuff's great.
Another one's like a weird mystery.
Supernatural thrillers.
Yeah,
Now, if you're
Tales of
out
the
there in
Crypt.
those dollar bins digging, here's a little something you'll probably like. Now, you know one of the godfathers kind of comic art is Steve Kirby. You've heard of him? Yeah. So for a little while, he worked for Charlton Comics. So, and he did a title with them called Beyond the Grave. And if you can still find those every now and again in dollar bins. So if you want to see some good, like Silver Age horror, that would be a book to look for. And I don't remember how long the series is. I want to say it's like 13 issues. I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I look for anything like mummy related, grave related, crypt. And this is just all within the past couple weeks. I've been like diving into it. I just personally I like the art. There's some other stuff I like too. I like some Capullo. I like some
Jack
Nakayama.
Dicko. Oh, did I say?
Did
I say Steve Kirby?
Did
I say Steve Kirby?
Kirby.
Oh my
Is it
god!
Jack Kirby?
It's
No.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah, it's
and
Jack
Steve
Kirby.
Ditko.
I was gonna say I didn't say anything. I was like, I think it's Jack Kirby, but
It's his cousin. You never heard of him?
no, it may have been. It may have been. That's why I didn't say nothing. I was like, okay, I haven't heard that guy yet.
Yeah, the lesser known Steve Kirby.
Yeah, I'm still working in on some artists. Like some Jim Lee stuff, pretty cool.
This whole generation nearly of collectors has cut their teeth on Jim Lee. Jim Lee X-Men brought so many people into comics.
Oh God, yeah, and Neil Adams Batman.
Absolutely.
Between the two of them, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you picked a good one, bud.
Yeah, they're just it's wild, man. I never thought that comics dove as deep as it does. Like, I mean, you hear big artist names like in open world platforms and not comics like Picasso and Da Vinci and stuff like that. But like, you don't hear the names of these artists for comic books. So when I first started looking at it, I'm like, holy cow, this is amazing. Like, who is this artist? And then you hear it, and the next thing you know, you look at a book and you're like, oh, that's such and such, or oh yeah.
You start recognizing their styles, their lines, their colors, their plates. I mean, it's amazing how you can literally just be like, you know, probably the most recognizable character drawer there is one of my favorites, freaking Scotty Young, right? Everybody recognizes a Scotty Young. Like
I would say everybody recognizes Scotty Young, Alex Ross for
Peach
sure.
Momoko.
McFarlane for sure. Yeah, Peach Momoko. I mean, they're very recognizable styles.
Yes.
And Alex Ross does fine art as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, any of those good oil painters are cool. You know, like we'll go back and look at Frank Frazetta, you know. I mean, he's incredible.
I'm gonna have to look for some Frank Frazetta because, like you were just saying, the oil painting's so wild. I was actually watching somebody the other day using oil paintings, and to me, I was like, "Oh man, I don't think that's gonna blend well." And then he's
isn't it something?
I was like, "Oh my god, that's crazy!" Yeah,
I can sit here and watch Gorkum Demir draw for hours.
Oh yeah,
hours on end because it's like he's already got it drawn in his head, and it just keeps coming out. Like,
it's like it leaks out of his damn hand.
Yeah, it's incredible. I love watching Gorkum draw.
I've seen him do a Venom for I think it was I don't remember I think it was for Helvetica or it was for somebody about a week or two ago, and I was watching it and I was like, okay, this is pretty wild. And it got towards like where I thought would be the ending, and then that was just where the details just got started, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, excuse my language, but he just was going off on it. I'm like, Gorkam's got a crazy little style here. Yeah, he's got some good stuff.
And he's starting to expand what he does, and I really see a lot of growth in his drawing and art too.
I nearly stopped me in my tracks when I saw that Twig cover.
Yeah,
He
I
told
mean
me
that did not look like a Gorkam.
no. He told me it was Gorkam. I was like, no way.
But
I'm
we're
gonna
not
go
supposed
ahead.
to be talking about Gorkam. We're supposed to be talking about you.
I know. We're not gonna fanboy out on Gorkam.
We can fanboy and use another day.
We'll
Today we're here to talk about you.
Let's bring in, since we're talking about artists now, let's bring in one of the MadHouse better artists here. So we'll go ahead and bring in RMI.
I don't know if you want me on an art discussion.
What?
I'm just going to make J1 mad. What's up, Zion?
What's up, buddy?
I thought that was the whole reason you were on here.
I'm just going to start talking trash about
Peach
Momoko and Scotty Young and get kicked off the show.
I don't like Peach. I think she's done like one or two that I thought were okay. But for the
I
most
agree with
part,
you. I can count the number. When she first hit, I thought, if you want to draw manga, draw manga. It's not for comic books.
That's what she has. She has a manga flair that she brought to comics, and because it was new and unseen, everybody gobbled it up.
Yeah.
My thing is, I think that most of her look, to me, looks unfinished. It looks like a sketch draft of something, like a proof of concept. Like, I'm going to do a color pencil version of this, and it's going to be like a sketch cover. And then this is the prototype for the real thing that's going to have actual like dynamic colors and hard lines.
I agree with.
But then she just publishes it as is.
Yeah. I always looked at it and thought, like, is this missing inks or something? What's wrong with it?
It is
this?
Missing inks. It's almost like it's a colored. They're colored pencil sketches. They just don't feel finished to me. But I mean, I'm obviously not the audience for it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an artist. I don't draw or nothing, and I agree with you guys. But to me, it almost looks like you got like your little watercolors set up on the side of the paper, and the cat bumped it. You know what I mean? That kind of blend.
Nice.
I mean, I like her stuff. I like Momoko's stuff. It's super creative for sure. Different colors, light pastel colors. It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I hate speaking ill of an artist's work. It's just not. It's not pleasing to my eye. I'll just put it that way.
Well, everybody's got their own palette, man. That's the thing.
Sure. Yeah. Not saying she's not a good artist. Just not an artist.
No,
for
she
me.
definitely is a good artist. Definitely.
Yeah. So
it's just one of those things where it's like it's when somebody becomes like the flavor of the month, and then that holds on for a long time, and then you look at stuff that other people are doing, like Art Germ and stuff like that, and you go, he's not even in the same,
not even in the same league
conversation.
And then Marvel just put her on retainer.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh man, please don't. I don't want to cover a Momoko cover C of every issue.
Marvel does.
X-Men Demon Days, man, every single issue.
Yeah, I know.
It sells more books. I mean, that's a conversation that I have constantly with people and with Max and everything, is that, and I've talked to J1 about this, that modern comic collectors are not collecting comics. They're collecting art.
Sure.
No one is cracking a metal cover. No one is reading 80 different versions of Somebody's Killing the Children 16.
Nope.
They buy the cover A for $4 if they want to read it. People are investing in art. And so as long as people are going to be willing to buy multiple copies of the same exact book and get it slabbed and put it on their wall, Marvel and everyone else are going to keep crapping out as many variants as they possibly can with as many artists as they can, as long as they keep selling. Once they stop selling,
100%.
then they'll start pulling back. But the market, we're the ones responsible for the fact.
Oh, absolutely.
70
color me guilty
variants of Somebody's Killing Children 16.
I wish art prints.
Isn't that crazy?
Like
issue 16, issue 6, not 1, but 16.
Well,
I understand it's the start of a new arc.
Yeah,
but I don't like the last Ronin #1. Honestly, without a doubt, was the largest, most anticipated book that people were glowing about that wasn't Marvel or DC for years. Everybody was beyond belief about it. And it had what, 50 covers?
Did it really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it was over 50.
Wow. And they all sold out.
Yeah. Every one of them.
But the thing with that is that that's something that has built-in branding in advance. So when you're talking about something that's killing the children, it's not like Boom could go, this is going to be a mega hit. Let's have 50 different covers.
Yeah.
It took until issue 16 that every tiny LCS and online LCS and everything was saying, can we please have a variant?
Yep.
And Boom said, yeah, we like printing money.
Yeah,
Everybody
and Boom, of course.
Get a variant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marvel will restrict them, but Boom, Aftershock, all them, they as many exclusives as they can do. They'd love it.
Be right back.
Which I can't argue with.
Yeah, they don't need to worry about sell-through because the vendor is buying the entire run of the book. So it's a risk-free proposition for them. So they can print 500 copies, 1,000 copies, because all 500 or 1,000 are sold to one vendor. And then it becomes that vendor's problem. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at Max. Dynamite needs an intervention. They have been doing 20 covers of everything since the beginning of Dynamite, though. I mean,
how many different? Yeah, Vampirilla.
Yes, and
Redstone. Yeah,
and they're gonna crank them out.
Yep.
When it got into the cosplay covers, I was like, okay, we've gone too far.
Oh, the photo ones?
Yes.
Those are pretty bad. There's some pretty bad ones from the 90s.
Some really bad ones that are coming back around to be awesome because they're so bad.
There are some photo covers from the 90s that you come across them in the dollar bins and you just go, and just like can't flip past it fast enough because it looks like some, aspiring model who, had a not as flattering as she thought picture taken.
Yeah. Yes.
And there's no airbrushing going on. And it just goes right on that cover.
Yeah.
I got a panther like that just the other day.
You got a what like that?
I think it's called a panther. I may have took it to the shop.
Oh, panther, yeah.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Purple background with a leopard or something like that. I just had to have it. It was funny.
Was it one of the old Panthers or was it one of the new Image ones?
So it was, I don't know much about Panther, so please enlighten me, but it was an actual, what I would describe as a photo cover. It's an actual person. There's no any no stenciling, no airbrush, no nothing. It was just the image of the lady. So I don't know if that's a newer style art. I just like stuff like that too, like covers.
Photo covers just
photo covers
don't really do it for me. I've seen some cool ones. I mean, there were some of the Black Panther ones with the actors on it. I had that. Where did that go? The Black Widow one that Deep Dive got from me. There you go. There's a pricey photo cover. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so like,
yeah.
Yeah, but these are like ratio variants. You know what I mean? That's the actual actor.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody cosplaying like you were talking about.
Right.
Did we lose Jay?
Nah, he's probably just eating a muffin or something. Who knows?
Check the private. You'll see what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got you. Okay, no worries. He's doing some housekeeping.
Oh, okay. Yeah, get that figured out. So J1 sent me a photo.
He sent those to you too? I'm just kidding.
Well, not that kind of photo. Let's see.
Started already. We ain't even been on that long.
Let's see if I can pull this up. Window. Maybe I have to go into the window.
Is this NSFW?
It is not. Why does it keep clicking out of it?
I don't know how to use StreamYard. I'm useless.
Let me try to alt-tab into it.
What's up, Tater?
Can you see it now?
I can see it now.
Okay. So we will, when J1 is back and ready, we can go into talking about that.
All right.
Which I think will be a good conversation.
Sure.
As long as we can keep it productive. So RMI, no N words.
Oh man.
I know how you love to, but you just gotta fight the urge.
All
man.
right. I'll try
fight
my
the
best.
urge. So for the people that don't know you, you've been collecting for how long?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I started. I've been dealing comics since I was 13. I do it for a living. I feel very blessed that I get to do it for a living. Yeah, I grew up very poor, but I loved comics, and it was probably the only thing that I bought for myself that I could afford at the time. I'm dating myself, but cover prices were 75 cents at the time, and I used to, so I would mow lawns and had a paper route and did all these things to afford my books. And I would find now and laters on the way to school for a nickel on my bike and sell them to classmates for a quarter. But what ended up happening is I got a hold of a copy. I would flip through my 75-cent, 100 for one, Silver Surfer one at the time. And I would see ads from New England Comics and American Comics and stuff like that with books, for $10, 20, an X-Men 94 for a whopping $50, things like that.
Yeah.
And I went, these are worth more than cover price. Like, wow. And I got into it and I bought my first Overstreet and I read it cover to cover. And I started, when I would stop at the newsstands to buy my now and laters, I would start picking up books that I knew were going for over market. And the first book I remember really doing that with was Man of Steel 18. When Man of Steel 18 came out, first Doomsday, that book from the jump, the day that book came out, it was a $5, $7, $8 book. So I would load up at different newsstands at 75 cents a book, bring them to school with me, flip them to classmates for $5. And that's really how it got started. And then I got my first booth at like a, Radisson Hotel ballroom or something, one of those tiny local shows when I was 13. I had my first booth. And I haven't looked back since. And it's just all I do. It's my full-time job.
And it's a good job too, isn't it?
We can dream.
I feel very blessed. And I have news for, there are certain folks out there in the community that have made comments like, that's not a real job. Why don't you, we work 40, 50 hour weeks.
Dude, you're more than that.
Yeah. Procuring books in itself is a full-time job.
You nailed it on the head, which is sure.
I've got my 40-hour a week job, right? Yeah. I have that. I spend probably 40 hours a week hunting, looking, searching, buying, and everything else on top of that for comics. And I only sell a couple of nights a week, a few rounds a night, because I enjoy it though. Right?
People think that the work is loading books into whatnot or whatever, or getting them ready for a YouTube auction, doing the show, the packing and shipping the next day. That is about a quarter of the time. That's maybe 10, 12 hours a week.
Yep.
Easily in the average week, I spend 25, 30 hours, and so does Max, locating books, searching for collections, searching for inventory, going to shows on eBay, in whatnots, on YouTube, on IG. It is a ton of work. And so that's why, the most common question, and you guys, I'm sure, get questions in the IGs all the time from buyers in the community.
Yeah.
Number one, where do you find all your everywhere?
Legwork.
The
and
process
not easy
of the books takes hours. You get a collection in, you don't just grab it. And some people do, don't get me wrong. I've seen a lot of whatnot shows and stuff where they put it out in the brown wrinkled bag that they got it in with no bag and expect you to pay for it. But investing in the pride of ownership of the book, processing the books, grading them, making sure the value stamp is there, making sure the centerfold is there, making sure like you can't trust even if you're buying from somebody that you love and can trust.
Interior chairs.
Anyway. Look inside, count the pages.
Well, that's what I always say: trust but verify.
Exactly right. I mean, there are people that I'll speed run it if it's somebody that I've been buying from for years.
Sure.
If I get a book from J1, I know all I need to do is slide it out, take a look at it, and go, "Yep." I don't need to be counting pages and and blacklighting and things like that because I've already done that. But the processing of the books, the intake, the processing, the rebagging, the remylaring, the sorting, the pricing, the grading, it's a lot of work. But I'm not complaining. Like you said, it's a dream job. I get to do what I love for a living. I will never complain a day in my life about it.
Yep. When hobby crosses lines with the job, it's a good predicament to be in.
For sure.
So J1.
Yes, sir. Sorry,
you feeling ready?
I'm answering my child.
Oh.
No, you're good. It's just a quick little text.
All right. So I did indeed check out that picture you sent me. And it is, in fact, true. They Marvel is going to roll out a gay Superman or Spider-Man. Sorry,
we've already got the buy Superman.
Jack Ditko,
drawn by Steve Kirby. I'm just right. Sorry for trolling you about that. It was too funny.
Oh no, that's hilarious. I was like, wait, what is he? What is that? And I was like, oh shit, did I just say? So this is going to be in the new Edge of Spider-Verse. It's going to be number 5. So it's not going to be an actual character per se. It's going to be a variation that's going to be in the Edge of Spider-Verse.
So it's going to be an alternate universe Spider-Man.
Yeah, they're going to have a whole bunch of Spider-Mans, and this will be one of them. So it's not going to be, a standalone series, but it will be billed as the first gay Spider-Man. So you can say it's a key issue.
I'll pick it up. Yeah, I'll pick it up. I mean, just like the Superman number 3 was. Got it too.
Oh, the son of Kal-El?
Yeah. The one in 25, 1 in 50. I can't remember what the ratio was.
Yeah. What about Untold Tales of Batman?
Yeah.
Right?
That's the other one with Night. Yeah.
Yep.
Batman's got some nefarious things going on. He's got a gay son. He's got a son he didn't know about. Ooh.
He's got a messed up family. I mean,
I know. You run out of things to do sometimes with Batman, so I get.
Well, with all when you have characters that were created 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, right? Sometimes new material is not always the easiest to get on, to draw on, and everything else. So, I get it.
If you're not reading the new Batman Flashpoint Beyond, it's good. It's good. Thomas Wayne just started Batman. Yeah, I think it's on like the 3rd or 4th issue, maybe.
Yeah,
it's very.
And
good.
Then the other new Tynion started a new arc, 125.
No, Chip Zdarsky did.
What?
Tynion finished. Tynion was before.
Tynion finished. Chip starting, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, Chip Zdarsky started on this week, 125. So RMI last week, you heard J1's Get Off My Lawn.
It was not the angry old white guy get off my lawn. It wasn't that bad.
It was a little you damn kids. But so when you were listening to J1, I'll say he represents a portion of the current comic book buyer's market. You would represent another portion. Hey, the way I feel about it, the more the merrier. If everybody's buying comic books, everybody should be happy. So
for sure. Yeah. I mean, and so right from the jump, J1 and I are good friends.
Yes.
And, good friends, and we respect each other. Jelly and I know each other, like everybody in this community, for a couple of years now. We've all been hanging out, and we are very different people from very different backgrounds, and what we all have in common is we all respect each other.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah, so that's just right from the jump. I want to get that out of the way. What was happening last week is, and you'd be surprised because it is not even close to the first time I've watched a YouTube show where there's a panel of folks having the exact same discussion.
Sure.
I know.
I was on another panel where the discussion turned that way about 8 months ago. I was watching a couple of others where the discussion took that route, and it's hard to get off of it. And you end up going down a rabbit hole for an hour. And I was coming out of my skin watching because I was like I had so much I want to say, and I can't be typing out a dissertation on my phone to you guys. So what I basically said to J1 and to Jelly was, if this is a conversation that people are interested in, I would love to come on and provide an alternate
point of view. Exactly.
Right.
And we were like, abso-freaking-lutely, come on.
Yeah. And see, that's why, and what was funny is, I remember J1 at one point saying, it's really a lot of it is about how you were raised. J1's like, I was raised this, that, and the other thing.
Certainly.
And a lot of people wouldn't guess from my liberal vegan bearded ass that I was raised strict Roman Catholic conservative.
So would you say here we have a nature versus nurture conversation?
Very much so.
Okay.
But there's, and it's something that I'm going to get into in a second, which is this idea of traditionalism versus discomfort, and I'll get into that in a second. It's not as boring as it sounds.
It sounds intriguing.
I was an altar boy. I was raised by very racist people. I was told by my mother to never bring a girl home unless she was white. Anytime my brother, I had a very abusive older brother. Anytime he suspected that anything that I was involved in looked slightly gay, I'd get beaten for it. I mean, like all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something to say about how you're raised, but a lot of times people will look at the way that they're raised and reject it wholesale.
Yeah. Like yours was an
100%.
extreme.
Oh, sure. I mean, but like,
and that's
but
why.
it wasn't that extreme in 1980s where I grew up.
True. I know.
I was raised, if I was ever in any kind of trouble, I was told to go outside and pick a switch and come back in with it to get whipped with. And if I didn't do it fast enough, it would be the belt.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Would I
cord or a wooden spoon?
My hands on my kids? Not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
So there are things from your childhood that you have the opportunity as an adult to reflect on and go, do my values align with what I was taught, is the way that the world is. So that I just wanted that as an opening. So before we get into this discussion, and I'm super excited to have the discussion, just for background, in addition to selling comics full-time for a living, I'm a graduate student. I got my master's degree in media studies, TV and film. I'm getting my MFA in TV and film right now. I teach classes on gender and race in media. I taught a comic book history class. So does that mean that I'm smarter than anybody? Absolutely not. Does it mean my opinions are more valid? Absolutely not. I'm just telling you that as background so that you know that I'm not talking out of my ass. One of the classes that I taught, and I always love this story because it gives people some perspective, is in my comic book class, a conversation was happening between two students, and they were talking about Suicide Squad 2. Mm-hmm. And these two students, one was African-American, one was Latino, and they said, did you hear about the casting for Suicide Squad 2? And the other one said, I heard a little bit about it. Why? What are you talking about? And the other one said, well, they replaced Will Smith with Idris Elba.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute. It kind of washed over me for a second. And the idea of default white male straightness, okay, is so ingrained in everyone's mind. No, it does not make you racist. It does not, it is so a part of American culture that here are two young men, one African American, one Latino, talking about somebody being cast in a movie, and in their mind, these are two completely different characters, Deadshot and Bloodsport. In their mind, Will Smith no longer being involved in the film and Idris Elba being added as a completely new character. In their mind was a recast.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which, if you stop and think about it for a minute, is a really profound idea. You would never say that about if Captain Boomerang hadn't returned and John Cena came on. You wouldn't say, oh, Jai Courtney got replaced with John Cena. It would never occur to you. It would be John Cena was cast as Peacemaker. The idea of default whiteness, default maleness is ingrained in our minds from as early as the second we start consuming any kind of media, TV, movie, comic book, whatever. When something isn't white and male and straight, it catches us as unusual.
Sure. Well, historically, that's how, as Americans, history was taught to us, was from that point of view.
Absolutely.
So,
and when you're turning on a movie, you're turning on a TV, you're opening a comic, if that's what you're seeing, that is what you come to understand is that's the default. And if it is something different than that, it catches your attention. But when it matches that, it never catches your attention. And one of the things that I ask my students is, in one of the early classes, I'll always start with Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the first film, and I'll do a screening of that. And I'll ask immediately after the screening, how many people, when you see Gandalf come on, and then you see Sam, and you see Frodo, and you see Bilbo, and the characters keep adding up. No one is watching that movie and thinking, man, there's a lot of white dudes in this movie. Absolutely no one. No one that has that experience. If you took absolutely any other race, Filipino, okay?
So you said you were asking this to white students?
No, to
all students. Okay.
All students. I said, if this film started and Gandalf came rolling up and Frodo ran up and said, Gandalf, and jumped on him, and the hat came back and Gandalf was Filipino, and Frodo was Filipino, immediately everybody would be like, huh, that's interesting, right? And then up runs Sam, and he's Filipino, and we meet, Bilbo, he's Filipino. You'd think, wait, is this
the Filipino? Yeah, is this the Filipino version, or
is this movie Filipino?
Yeah.
Because we expect to see straight white men in these situations, not because we're racist, but because it's just what we've naturally been taught is the default, is what to expect. And when we don't see that, it's jarring to us. It's unexpected.
So we're taught to expect that in all cases, or are you talking about like
media?
Across media as a whole?
Across media, in our language. If I told you today, I was in a car accident, this blonde rear-ended me, you would never think I meant a blonde male. Ever.
Oh.
Okay, you would assume that I meant a blonde.
Because you automatically associate when somebody says a blonde.
Yeah, because women are horrible drivers, right?
And typically, 99% of people, if I said a guy hit me and I didn't qualify that with a race, the image in your mind is going to be a white guy, unless I qualify that with a race.
It's like that old riddle with the doctor that
Yeah, of course.
Can't be my son.
Yeah, exactly.
The doctor's the mom. Not the dad.
It's his mother.
Yeah. Oh, mind.
So yeah, mind twister. But and what happens is when you point things like that out to people, and this is where we get into tradition versus discomfort in that whole conversation. People, by and large, feel attacked by anything that is different. So, and I've experienced this a lot with, ironically, everybody in this community knows I'm vegan. Did I hop on a camera and say, hi, I'm James, I'm vegan? No. One person found it out. It turned into a joke.
You're a vegan Jesus. It's just what it is.
Yeah, it rolled into a joke. It's Max's favorite joke. She makes it multiple times a day, a vegan joke. But what happens is
It doesn't help that you wear the white T-shirts that kind of look like a flowing gown that you come on with. I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to. I listen. I'm Teflon. There's no insult that anybody can lob at me that I'm not going to laugh at. But you would be surprised how many people feel personally challenged by that. And it's not something that I preach about. It's not something I've never given a lecture about it. I've never told somebody you're immoral if you eat animals or anything like that. But people, when they have a way of life and a way of thinking, and something is different than that, people's automatic response is to feel judged and to feel discomfort. And I mean, there were even cases where, Burger King, Carl's Jr., KFC added plant-based options to their menu. The entire rest of the menu is still there. All your favorites are still there, friends. But they added one more item to the menu. And there are literally people who boycotted those restaurants saying, I don't want this woke vegan shit on my menu. So somehow, even though it has no impact on their lives whatsoever, they take it as a personal challenge against their way of life. It's the whole traditionalism versus discomfort kind of idea. So what happens is when you see Captain Carter, a female character, taking on the mantle of Captain America, when you see Shuri possibly becoming Black Panther, when you see the addition of yet another Spider-Man who is gay, what happens is your instinct, instead of thinking absolutely nothing, your menu is still there, J1. All your favorites are still there on the menu. Your flame broiled Whopper is still on the menu. They're adding another option. And you go, but this was fine the way it was. Why did we have to do this? The answer to that is the only way to counteract this whole idea that I introduced of default whiteness is you make things more representative of the world. There is absolutely
not disagreeing there.
Yeah. If I am a young child of color, or I'm female, or I'm queer, or I'm anything that's not straight white cis male, and I'm watching Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring, there's nothing in that film that I identify with whatsoever. It does not look reflective of the world. Do all films have to do that? No, obviously not. But people who are of the traditionally dominant class, which are the three of us, look at that and go, everything was fine the way it was. Why did we have to mess with it? And the answer is it's only fine for us. It's not fine for a 12-year-old little black girl running around who's like, there is nothing out here that represents me. I can't find anything about me on a screen. Like Whoopi Goldberg once famously talked about how when she was a little kid, it was like mind-blowing when she turned on Star Trek and saw Uhura. And she ran into her mom and said, Mom, there's a black lady on TV and she's not a maid.
Yep.
And like that unlocked her and made her think like, I can make it too. So
she was a bridge officer. They're like, she's a woman of power too.
No, it's about making things look more representative of how the world actually is. Because white males are a third of America.
Sure.
But we're 99% of the media.
Okay, so I'll pose it from the devil's advocate point. Okay. If we're going to historically recreate, this may not be the best.
But it's not a recreation, Jelly, because nothing can erase J1's
right. I get the history,
Captain Rogers. Now, if somebody said we're going to delete all this and wipe,
that's sure. I understand that. I was going to put it to why can't we? This is actual history versus fiction history. This is where I kind of
just let me say it.
Painted myself into a corner. What?
I was going to say, let me say it. I completely agree with your point of view right there, right? 100%. They did not get rid of Captain America. They did not, right? They killed him off in the movie, which they're bastards for, right? they can rotten whatever for that, but that's okay.
I think that's a beautiful end to his arc.
It was a wonderful ending. It really, truly was. But then that completely eliminated him unless they pull him out of another multiverse or something like that. That golden boy symbol of Chris Evans being Captain America is now gone. And that pissed me off too. I won't lie.
It's
but
not gone. I've got DVDs of him in the next room. I can watch them right now.
I know, but the story ends. It doesn't continue. That's my thoughts process.
So is
right?
is it a lack of new content with that character you've fallen in love with? Is that part of it?
That's part of it. That's part of
Okay.
it, right? So, and they're not going to get rid of Captain America in comics. I know they're not, right?
Of course not.
And Captain Carter, she may blow up and be huge, right? Who knows? But it kind of all tied together at the same point in time and the same and you got to think comics and movies are completely separate. If you were going to say anything, they're different multiverses because the movies don't follow the comic storylines in the first place, right?
Well,
but I have gotten to the point. I got to the point where, I love Captain America. I love all the comics. I read most of them. Even the early 40s I've read digitally, right? I've enjoyed them. He is like the Superman of the MCU, as in that golden boy, always tries to do the right thing, never takes the wrong
All-American.
road.
Yep.
Sure.
Absolutely. Has the heart of gold. Will risk his life over and over and over again to save anyone, whether they be good or bad. Right?
Yeah.
And then they killed him. And then he's dead in the movies. He ain't coming back. And then they're like, oh, well, here you go. Here's an animated, big, beefy woman that we're going to say is your new Captain America. And then I'm like, okay, I can deal. All right, it's a what if. It's not going to really fucking happen. And then it happened. No, it's supposed to be what if, not what now.
They bamboozled you.
They like, how long did it take Jane Foster Thor to come around? Right? From what if to reality. 20 years? 30 years?
More.
Yeah, almost 40.
Right?
1977, yep.
I'm not doing the math in my head at this moment. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Or 79, my bad. 79, that issue.
And then the what? 2008 was the run that the no.
Yeah.
Was it 2008? Anyways, it doesn't really matter, right? But they didn't do it, 6 months later.
I understand.
And 6 months before that, they killed him.
So I think James Willie said that was really good. The Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah, he gave it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, there have been a couple of people I've heard good reviews for it.
It's probably gonna be great. It's Ragnarok was great.
Yeah.
Don't tell Papa Willie, but I think I'm gonna blow off his auction and take me and the wife and kids to the drive-in and see it.
That's okay. I've been blowing off his auction for the past 5 months. But so here's an interesting point. I just want you to think about this.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So what's upsetting to you is that the Steve Rogers Captain America, someone else took up the mantle of Captain America and it wasn't Steve Rogers. It has nothing to do with the fact that it was a female. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The girl part is part of it, right? I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Okay.
But I was more acceptable with the Falcon.
Well, see, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
No one hopped on YouTube
Yeah.
when John Walker was announced as the new Captain America.
I hated
Falcon
him.
and Winter Soldier. Not a soul. You know why? Because he wasn't a big beefy chick.
I hated him. I hated it. Like I was so like, I'm like, Falcon, kick his ass and take that shield away and beat him with it. He does not deserve it.
But he was cast that way on purpose. He was a heel. John Walker was a heel. They brought in a goofy looking dude who was really, kind of weird and campy because we all knew that series was going to end with either Bucky or Sam becoming the new Cap.
Yeah.
Right.
And at the same time, and here's the terrible part is that, they made him a heel, right? They made him a heel, just as you said. But this is a U.S. military veteran, multiple tours in Iraq, multiple tours in other places, doing I like everything he can to help protect the country and everything else, and then some. And then they make him look like the heel. That was a little.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean,
I just still didn't want him to be
he's
Captain
a hero,
America, though.
but he's a douchebag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but he was written that way. Yeah,
you can
they
be
wanted him to
both.
be a douchebag so
Yeah.
that it would open the door for
Yeah,
either
they
Bucky
wanted
or Sam
you to be
take on the
behind
mantle.
Sam Wilson,
Right?
or Bucky.
And
So-
I think that one of the points that you guys were really kind of hammering home last week
Stop it, Spooky.
was the idea of spooky. Was the idea of, if you want to introduce diversity into media, into comics, into films, etc. The question I kept hearing you guys kind of asking was, why not just make a new character?
Sure.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is economics.
No, I know.
The reason being that, okay, if you're starting a band and you want to make it and you want to get on the radio and get people to download your song, the best way to do that is to do a cover.
Sure.
You do a cover because the second it's heard, people already know the lyrics. They already have familiarity with that song. You have an immediate hook. It's already successful.
You go out, you do your show, you play cover music, and you release a couple of new things that's yours,
exactly
mixed
right.
in with it to get yourselves known as your own as well. Yeah, I get it.
It is pure economics, and I can promise you, all these people. I mean, I've seen all the like really angry, man baby shows on YouTube that are just absolutely outraged and furious about like all the wokeness and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Disney is a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Oh yeah,
they will never make a decision that is not financially smart. So they are not going, we could keep going with this, but we're just going to shoehorn in some diversity in order to have the appearance of wokeness. Under no circumstances. They have fiduciary responsibility to millions of shareholders. They cannot make a decision that they do not think will be profitable and beneficiary to their shareholders.
That's 100%.
Yeah. So it is not. So that's why when everybody's got trigger words. For me, the one that makes me bang my head against the wall is agenda. There is no one in a Disney boardroom sitting around going, how can we turn kids gay? How can we make?
I don't think
this is all over the internet, though, you guys.
It's true.
Yeah.
All over the internet.
I don't think anybody's conspiring.
No, it does not. There is no agenda to make kids hate their own race, to make kids hate their own sexuality or their own gender. That is nonsense. It is simply an effort to make the landscape that we are all looking at something that everybody in America can relate to. And not just the three of us who've had nothing but media that we relate to since the Bible. Okay. And so
I'm most identified with green turtles.
Dude, let's be real. That was the thing.
That's what I loved. But yeah, no, I get it. It's easy to love everything when it looks like you and sounds like you and has a similar background to you. I get it.
There's no Irish drunken freaking comic book characters.
Dude, you have the whole University of Notre Dame.
Yeah, but there's still no comic book characters. At least not that I know of.
So, okay. So you don't like the word agenda. I'll agree with you. Because agenda does sound like there is some sort of plan.
Agenda is this fantasy that people are, and I mean, I've been on panels with people that I respect and love who will legitimately say to me and had said to me, like, and I won't call them out or anything, but they're good friends. I was on a panel once where they were talking about, but this is after the show, about how they thought that there was like this government conspiracy to feminize black males in America and turn them gay in order to, and it was just this big elaborate
to lower the birth population of African Americans and blah blah blah.
And the idea that there are people in boardrooms going like this,
well, that's the Illuminati. You know that,
trying to turn people gay, turn people trans, make white people hate their own race, things like that. It's nonsense. These people are making media to make a profit, and they are just trying to make that media more representative of a broader audience, because the more people that you bring in to buy tickets, the more money you're going to make.
I'm going to agree with you on every one of those except for for white people to hate their own race. And I only say this because I see it. I watch a lot of I watch both sides of the thing, left and right, constantly. I always do. I like to try to stay informed on both sides. I've always been that way. I said last week I'm an independent, and I mean it. I really am. I have points of view on both sides. I have liberalist ideas and I have conservative ideas. I always have, right? But when you see people interviewing guys on like college campuses and stuff like that, whether it be a left interviewer and a right interviewer, and you see these guys and they're like, I have no right to speak on any of the subjects because I'm a white male and my point of view does not matter. And I'm oppressive because I'm a white male. And I'm like, did you hurt somebody that you haven't told us about?
Do you understand what you're saying. No,
do you go around and beat other races up with
and I will say, Jay, that is sensationalism for the media. They're gonna put the most things that are the most catching, the most.
Oh God, yeah, like they may interview
agree
50,
with it the most, or it's going to infuriate you the most.
Yeah, they may interview 50 people, right?
Yeah,
have 40 normal answers.
Yes,
5 really extreme answers, and 2 that are just complete whacks, and that's the 2 they're going to put on there.
Yes,
right.
The extreme of the extreme of any side.
Yeah,
the extreme of any side of any discussion that you have.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Becomes the megaphone and becomes the face of that side for the majority of people. I'll give you a perfect example. Everybody, when they find out I'm vegan, thinks, you're one of those PETA people. I am not. I can't stand PETA. I think they harm ethical veganism every single day.
100%.
Because I think that they absolutely, look, there is no better way to radicalize somebody in the exact opposite direction.
Yep.
Than to make them feel judged and to vilify them. Okay. So if I am somebody who, let's say that I had some kind of gender preference in terms of my pronouns. Okay.
Can I call you Shem?
You can call me whatever you want.
I'm going to call you Bearded Jesus then. That's all I'm doing.
Bearded Jesus.
I have met multiple people. Okay. I live in Southern California. I go to a liberal school in Los Angeles. Okay. Yeah. I meet people all the time who have pronoun preferences. And here's the thing. Not one of those people has ever acted like someone is a monster if they call them by the pronoun that they don't prefer, that they are ignorant, that they are homophobic, that they are anything. Yep. They just let them know, like, oh, just so you know, I go by this. And I go, cool. I'll remember that. And it's that simple. That is the vast majority of people in all conversations. That's why I opened this thing with those 2 students that I was talking to you about saying Idris Elba was a recast. Those kids aren't racist. They just aren't thinking.
It's about less than 1%. It's less than 1% that are those extremes. But that's what they flood the media with. So everybody sees these extremes. And
nobody wants to watch 5 hours of people getting along on the news.
Nobody wants
5
to watch
hours
a rational conversation like we're having right now.
Opinions. Yeah.
We're a difference of opinions. They literally want to fuck you, Remy. How can you even think that? That's what normal
of course
media would like. That's what they want because
if we were screaming at each other and calling you, me calling you a racist and you calling me a libtard, we'd have 10 times more people in here. It is right. Yeah. People want to see fireworks. They want to see extremes. They want to see people fighting.
Absolutely.
And that's why there was never more news watched, consumed, never more engagement on Twitter, never more hyper focusing on things than when Trump was in office.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it was a constant battle, a constant shitstorm of people throwing shit at each other.
Yep.
Murdering each other over ideology. When people sit and have a conversation, which is what 97% of people are just good people, nobody wants to watch that. That's not going to sell commercials for Red Lobster if that's your content.
God, no.
So my only question on that. This is why I pretty much hate the news. And that's on the left and the right.
Completely. I think we can all
because
it's not news.
Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's fake news, right? but it's an extremely opinionated news, whether it's the left side or the right side.
Yeah,
I mean, you
it's
can't
not
trust
news.
either of them.
It's an editorial. That's
Yeah.
the thing. And it's both
Like,
sides.
So,
But
like,
this
I
started-
venture out. I have to venture out to get my points of view from people that I find out there that seem to be relatively trustworthy on a repetitive basis, to the point where I think that, you know what, I think I can trust his point of views and everything else. And I found them on both sides, and those are the people I follow on YouTube's and on podcasts and everything else. And those are the guys I listen to, because if I go to Fox News, I'm going to see a holy effing right side of it, and if I go with CNN or MSNBC, it's going to be a wholly left side of it. There is no moderate. Where's the moderate news network? That's the one I want.
The closest you're gonna get is like a BBC Al Jazeera type
Al
thing.
Jazeera. I
Yeah,
used to
Al
watch Al
Jazeera.
Jazeera.
Really is pretty just
He's pretty moderate. I won't lie. Yeah.
reporting.
Yeah, Al Jazeera is good.
Yeah, and I know I'll get butchered for saying this, but not the commentary. People need to learn the difference between commentary and actual news.
Oh yeah.
The news segments on NPR are just news. Now, if you get into commentary, of course, that's commentary. But if you're looking for just plain news, the news segments are pretty much just.
You can usually catch good news on talk radio as a whole for the most part. Good news. Now, the editorializing is different, but we have been heading this way as a country for a long time.
Yeah.
You think about when the 24-hour news cycle started, that was news consumption at that point. People just consuming.
Oh, yeah.
And even before the 24-hour news cycle, what were the things that people talked about the most or had the most fun with? It was that segment on the news where they're talking about a fire in an apartment or
I thought you were going to say
tornado. What?
Yeah, because typically, I mean, I'm older than you, so I don't know if you remember a time when J1 will, when the news was half an hour each night.
Yep.
And it was, here's some local news. Here's a little bit of world news. Here's Jim with sports. Here's Jenny with weather. And guess what? Ling Ling the panda at the zoo just had a new baby. And that's your half hour of news. If anybody has not seen it yet, I highly, highly, highly recommend.
Anchorman 2?
No. I recommend that as well. It is only 13 minutes long, but after this show, look up a bit that the late, great comedy genius Norm Macdonald did, and it's just called News. Like, that's just the title of it. So just search Norm Macdonald, The News. Yep. It's about 13 minutes long. It's absolutely brilliant. It says everything that the three of us and you're all thinking. But yeah, it's when you have to fill, like Jelly said, a 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah. But I say they always grab, there's a fire in the apartment. They don't grab the guy that walks out with his little puppy and is like, well, it was quite a thing. It woke us up in the middle of the night. I couldn't believe it. No, they get the person with their hair all sticking up. It was a fire. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's what they've started doing. So,
it's true.
That's what we're
Lord Jesus,
we're consuming. Lord Jesus, a fire. That's what we're consuming now.
Y'all want to watch some news? You go ahead and watch the Oklahoma news during tornado season.
Yeah,
okay?
I bet that's a delight.
I was in the kitchen with Mom when the tin roof started ripping off the damn trailer. We ran outside just quick enough to see the truck go flying away.
Right.
But listen, that feeds into meme culture, and that's what's funny to watch.
Yes,
funny to watch.
I agree. I completely agree.
Anchorman 2, right?
Yeah.
You guys want not YouTube, the community, right? If you guys have not watched that, you should watch that. The carry along with the movie is amazing, right? But the way they create their 24-hour news network, it is a giant parody of how today's news networks are. And it is hilarious. If you take out all the rest of the story and just watch that part, it's probably about 30 minutes, and it's amazing. I absolutely like it. Dude, I was a news media study in college.
Oh, nice.
And I absolutely loved it. I'm like, just absolutely.
Jay, have you seen Vice yet?
Yeah.
Very funny, right?
Oh, beyond belief, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. It's funny. It's very funny.
Sorry.
But yes, I mean that's. I mean, we could talk about this for hours and hours. But that's
hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, that's kind of just the nutshell of what I wanted to share with folks. Is that please don't confuse efforts by anyone to make the world more accessible to people who aren't you as a challenge to you. It is not. Nobody's saying what you do is wrong. Nobody is saying that you need to change anything about yourself. It is just an effort by good, well-intentioned people to make the world more accessible to more people, because for centuries, the only people that it was accessible to were folks like the four of us.
Sure.
That's it.
You know, you speak for yourself. My race was hated when we came to America for a long time.
I'm Irish too, brother.
Hey, man. I love all people.
It's not like I couldn't tell.
Irish need not apply.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
That's one of my favorite. My family has a really nice photo from when my great grandfather's family came over from the boat, right? It has him and his wife, 2 kids on either side, and a baby in an arm. With it says, right in front of the sign, it says, "Irish may need not apply," and that's one of the photos. I love that.
Yeah, I've spent the last 3 years trying to explain to people, because of the political bias in that the government is not trying to track you. The government is not trying to kill you. People don't seem to get the fact that the government's got better things to do than put trackers in to see you sitting at Wendy's, on a Tuesday. And besides, you're carrying around your tracker by
tracker
every single day.
right here.
We're giving it to them.
Yeah. And I mean, literally took care of a lady today that completely wrecked her entire body taking ivermectin.
What is that?
That was the kind of fake cure for COVID.
Oh,
that people were
not hydroxychloroquine.
That's a TB thing that you should not take very often.
No.
But yes, people.
The ivermectin thing come about with Joe Rogan, and he said it worked for him. He didn't say it worked for all people. He just said it worked for him.
Sure.
So
but people are stupid.
Well,
they
but
ran out and were like, "Oh,
Joe has such a massive audience and massive reach that my man could say, "Stick pixie sticks in your ears," and they're going to do it.
Yeah,
that's 100%.
He's also very articulate with the way that he speaks, though.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Not at any point, he even, I believe, I'd have to go back, but I believe he even says, "It works for me, but it may not work for you. But this is what helped me, and this is what my personal doctor
vaccines worked for me. May not work for somebody else."
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I had a military buddy that was in Costa Rica at the time, and he told me that he was planning on packing his bags and being booted from the military because he was seeing what was happening with vaccines as far as blood clotting and stuff like that. And he's like, "Dude, I'm not going through that."
Yeah, I mean, I take care of people every day, and the most issues I saw with blood clotting came from people that had COVID.
Yeah, and they were overweight. They weren't military guys that were in shape, and they were getting the deep vein thromboses in their legs.
Okay.
Yeah. There is no medicinal therapy on earth, not one, with 100% side effect proof efficacy. It doesn't exist. There are Tylenol, Advil can cause stomach bleeding. Tylenol can cause liver problems. Every single thing that's a chemical that you introduce into your body, there is going to be some segment of the population. Yeah.
Thank you.
And what happens is when you have suddenly millions of people okay, millions, tens of millions of people taking a vaccine, if 1/100th of 1% have a side effect, that's tens of thousands of people statistically. So it's.
I'm personally. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, you're good, man. Go.
I was just gonna say, I personally am against like I'm horrible at this. I won't even take an Advil, bro, because I don't like thinking. No, seriously, because I don't like thinking about putting a chemical makeup into my body, which naturally reacts to certain things, right?
Yeah.
Because if you go to the doctor, this is just my thought. Okay, you go to the doctor, they prescribe you something, right? And then you have a reaction to it. Instead of taking you off that medicine, they give you another medicine
to counteract
that reaction that has another reaction.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're on 32 different prescriptions for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess I'm a naturalist, I guess you would say.
Listen, I relate to that because like I get chronic headaches if I don't, like I forgot I was supposed to be wearing these anti-glare glasses this whole time because I'll get headaches from staring at the screen too long. And Max will tell me like, just go have you taken an Advil yet? Please go take an Advil. And I have just this block in my mind of I've never liked taking anything that if I'm in pain, that's my body's way of telling me something's wrong.
Sure.
And I've never liked the idea of introducing something into my body that's going to say, no, it's not. Right? Like that's blocking my body telling me that something's wrong. But
dude,
we're way off topic.
I did that during this show. I mean, come on.
Well, G1, we know what chemical you like to introduce on shows.
So. That's my normal, right? But every once in a while, I have to.
They want to be on Whatnot later.
When the pain is intense,
selling them cheap.
I have to not go with the liquid type painkiller, and I have to actually take a real pain pill.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, man. I'm effed up. My knees, my feet, I have a hard time walking. I have a cane I carry that if I need it, it's there. There's a little wheelchair on my license plate. I mean, pain. I'm with you. I hated taking them. Hated them when I first started needing them. Hated it. Yeah. I would tough it through until the point until I'm like, man, I'm just miserable all the damn time.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of drinks in the evening time, I'm good.
Nothing a little better beer can't fix.
Exactly.
Right.
Or when it's real bad.
My other half's been sick for about 6 weeks straight, like horrible pains constantly. I asked her one day, and I said, how many prescriptions do they have you on? And I think it's like 9. And I said, we need to go talk. You need to get off that shit. They took her off everything, except her heart medication. And I think there's one other thing, thyroid. And totally different person, just in a week, off of all that stuff. They're letting their body flush all that junk out, man. It's amazing. It is 2 totally different worlds.
There are natural thyroid medications. Most people are on Synthroid. The other one is Armor Thyroid. It's made from horse thyroid. If that'd be something she would be interested in, if she wants to stay a little more on the natural side.
Yeah, I'd be totally interested in just send me something, man, because we're all about that.
Sure.
All about it. That'd be super cool, man.
So anyway,
for leaving that info out there.
Now that we've head down that rabbit hole, anybody got any spec books? Anybody specking on anything?
You want to talk books?
Well, honestly, I heard, like we talked about it earlier, I heard really great reviews for Thor: God of Love and Thunder. I really did. Besides the guys in the local community, I went out and I searched around too to read some actual reviews of the regular people. I don't care about like movie reviewer reviews. I mean, they get paid to do that. I don't need that. I want to hear from like regular people. And so far, man, I've been.
Oh snap!
What
dude? You made it in time for the farewells.
Okay, I actually wanted to say, and I stopped. Look, guys, sorry, I got swamped. With customers.
That's a good thing.
That's the good thing. Here's the other good thing. I had you guys playing, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this fucking risk. I'm gonna unmute it, right? You guys, thank you, phenomenal. You got a couple people staring, and you had a couple people talking in the shop about, yeah, you know, as a parent, maybe books and this new stuff coming out can allow them to relate to their kids better than what they're doing now. So you guys got a lot of good points, and Remy, thank you for those deep explanations. I'm telling you guys, I had a couple people staring. Well, let me show you guys. Bam! I had a couple people staring, and dude, you guys are killing it. So just wanted to say thank you guys for making the show way better without me. Because man, I missed it totally.
I'm gonna mess up. I can never do that right.
But nah, dude, you guys even got me stuck because I was up there agreeing with a lot of things, man, because it's true, man. It's kind of hard. I didn't look at it that way. When you start bringing other points, you start thinking about it. Yeah, you know what? It does make it easier for everybody to come out and be more open about themselves if they start seeing more things about that they can relate to out there on the market. And that was a good point, guys, that a lot of people agreed on here at the shop, that right there was key, because nowadays you don't even know your own kids. So,
Yep.
Oh no,
Fact.
no, dude, no joke. So my kids watch this every once in a while, and they know this, so I'm going to go ahead and say this freely. I take their cell phones at night and I read their text messages.
Oh no. Oh no.
oh, Jay, don't do it, Jay. You're going to read something you don't want to read, Jay.
I already have. But you know what? I've always encouraged my daughters to be open and honest with me about everything. Always have. And for the most part, they are. Right? And my oldest especially, like I am her rock.
You've got good
Right?
kids.
I do. And it's been a lot of work, honestly.
Awesome.
Like at one point I loved their mother like no other, right? But when it came to the kids and raising them, we had extremely differing views, right? I mean, extremely differing, where our children see her more as a friend than they do as a parent. Me, they see me as a parent who is also friendly. You know what I mean? Like at any given time, like they know that they can come up and talk to me about anything.
Yeah.
And we have an unwritten rule in my household. If they do something wrong and they tell me, there is no punishment. Honesty is the best course of action.
Then
If they lie to me about it,
yeah,
man, I will snap a cell phone in half in a heartbeat.
sure. Oh no, I feel that. But let me ask you this then. And I think, and from everything that I know about you, and I've seen your kids, and you're a good man. If that's the case, and they know that they have that level of transparency with you, where they can share anything with you, and if they're honest about it, there's no repercussion.
Yeah.
What is the point of violating their privacy and going through their messages and their phone?
Oh, because they don't earn privacy until they have their own privacy, as in their own home, their own house, their own bills, their own jobs, their own cars.
Wouldn't that be a guardian role?
Because for me, I am their everything. I am their support. I am their nurturer. I am their everything. So at this point in my life and their lives, right, where they need me, I need to know what's going on with their lives so I can help lead them and guide them along. If I don't know what's going on in their lives sometimes, how can I help try to guide them down the right path?
While I disagree,
I understand privacy. I get you right there, right? Everybody deserves
completely,
privacy,
but I respect your intentions. I respect your intentions.
Like honest to God, man. Like it's always with the mindset of love and caring. And like, I'm not a helicopter parent. My kids want to go run with their friends. Go. Be back by dark. Like, that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
It's a little different nowadays. That's why their cell phones have tracking chips in them, right? If at any given time I try and call them and they don't answer, that's a strike, right? You get so many strikes, and then you lose.
Okay, now we're in agreement there.
Yeah,
we're in agreement there that if I'm providing you with a device, I better be able to get a hold of you on that device 24/7. But I think that everybody's got their different parenting techniques.
Yeah,
no.
I know early on that there are two circumstances alone in which I would ever violate. I remember my son there was something acting up on his laptop, and when I opened it to fix it for him, it had an open, long discussion with a girl on Instagram, and I immediately closed that window because I need him and I need them to know that they're entitled to have their own world and their own thought. Because the thing about looking through anybody's anything, best case scenario is you find nothing. Worst case scenario is you find something that makes you very sad. No one ever snoops. No one ever snoops through a partner or a child's diary, messages, emails, whatever, and ever finds a love letter to my dad and how great he is.
Oh, dude,
they kept from me. Okay,
so there's the years I've seen and read. I hate my dad. Right? I've seen it. I've read it. Is it hurtful? Yeah, but it's written in the heat of the moment because they're mad. And then guess what happens next? Within a day or two, they're over it. They're lovey-dovey. They're cuddly. They're hugging. They're kissing on me. They're my angels again.
Yeah.
Right. And I am I doing it the right way? I don't know. But am I doing it the way I think I think is right?
All and you so can far, ever do is your best every day.
Right. And my children are 15 and 13. And as of this time right now, I think I'm doing okay. I've got straight A students with big hearts that are loving and caring, that want to help people, that know what the value of $1 is, that know what it means to work for a living. Like my 15-year-old daughter knows how to use a chainsaw, right?
Nice.
I mean, she can go out and she can start the lawnmower. She knows how to change oil in a car.
Yeah.
Right. My 12-year-old,
I forced my kids to be involved every time I changed my own brakes, every time I worked in my car, every time I changed out a tire. I'm making them learn how to drive stick, whether they like it or not. So yeah, I get that. And listen, it's something that you and I won't agree about. No. It is certainly better than what I see 100 times a day, which is, here's the device, leave me alone for the rest of the day. So, I mean, so your intentions are definitely in the right place. And like I said, you're a good man. You got good kids.
I've tried. Like I said, man, I have tried. It's not easy. You know it.
No, it is not.
I think we're off in the weeds.
We've been there for a minute.
Yeah, we've been out there.
But you know what? The weeds are fun.
I know.
I know you guys got to wrap it up.
Good conversations happen.
Here's my PSA for anybody who's still with us. If you're holding on to any Jane Foster books, I'm full screen. Any Jane Foster keys, Thor keys, anything, First Valkyrie, anything that has anything to do with Thor: Love and Thunder, sell it yesterday. I'm just telling you.
Good advice.
I'm telling you right now. You will be able to buy any of those books that you like back in about 4 months at half the price.
Oh, yeah, probably so.
You'll be able to get a high grade What If 10 in October for $100.
You're probably right.
I'm telling you.
Look at the Morbiuses.
But see, that's the thing, and there's a place where people kind of
main character versus all
caught up in this idea of what if it's good. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if it's the best film you've ever seen in your life. You will never be able to get more ROI with the exception of blue chips. Okay. So I'm not saying if there's an FF movie, sell your FF1 today. Right. No, the blue chip key. I'm talking about books that no one gave a crap about before the announcement of a film, a TV show, etc., you will be able to. I can give you 500 examples, but the thing is, look at Eternals. Even if Eternals had been a great movie,
absolutely,
that book would still be back in the basement because it's a common book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She-Hulk #1. Everybody that's overpaying for She-Hulk #1 right now, you're overpaying. It's a very common book. There were factory cases of those books in warehouses as recently as a year or two ago. It's a common book. So
2 years ago, you could still find She-Hulks in dollar bins if you were.
oh yeah,
looking.
absolutely. And will it ever be a dollar book again?
No,
absolutely not.
No.
But
But
it will never be worth more. What's that?
Yeah, it'll hold. It'll hold.
It'll hold for 20 to 40.
It'll settle down after the show. You get about 6 months. It'll settle into where it's going to fluctuate very little from that point on.
Here's a hard one that I just found out. Marvel Spotlight 32, they just found 3 cases.
I know.
Sure.
I heard about that. It's going to water that down so hard.
People
that's a 20 center, man, from 78. That hurts.
How many times do they find random cases though?
Because people have
this is like the second or third time I've heard that.
Things just still exist. They just still exist. I was able to purchase very recently factory sealed cases of 1983 Star Wars Return of the Jedi blueprint packs that were sold in bookstores. Cases. And these are things that they're dead stock items, because you got to remember, now Werewolf 32, that's a little early. That's a 1972 book, right?
Right.
But you have to understand that with books with the advent of Howard the Duck #1 was a shockingly historic book that a lot of people don't realize. Howard the Duck #1 was the first ever book that had a secondary market value the moment it came out.
Yep.
The moment it came out, that was a book that people could flip for more than cover price. That had never existed before. And that.
Now, do you think the people that are holding, or that let's just say the lots that are being found, do you think that people are actually holding them on purpose?
No.
Or
it's generally like a shop that went out of business.
Yes.
That had stock or something like that.
Okay.
That they just was unsold stock that usually the owner will grab it and throw it in their basement or garage or something like that. And somebody else will buy the business.
For example,
mortar.
Like literally my shop here
like
locally that went out of business, they found an entire case of Ultimate Fallout 4 second print, the face out, and the Pacelli. 148 copies of the Pacelli and 68 copies of the normal second print.
Yeah.
They were literally just sitting in a box.
Yep.
In the back of their shop. They had no idea it was there.
You know
and
why?
You're talking a $400+ book now.
But that was a $4 book for a very long time.
Time.
A very long time. So what happens is, to answer Zion's question, is that what happens a lot of time is, a She-Hulk 1, like Jelly was just saying, that was a dollar bin book. That was a $5 book for decades. And so what happens is, if it's 1995 and I've got a case of She-Hulk 1s, it just goes in the corner with all my other inventory. And I'm forgetting about it, and then suddenly it's a $250, $300 raw book, and you're going through all your back stock, and you open the flap and go, holy shit, I just hit.
As a new collector, that's a huge thing in my mind. Is the fact that, okay, well, I hold on to this book. How long do I hold on to it for? Because who knows? I may get rid of it, and then next week, all of a sudden, it's popping off.
Well, the answer to that question is, it depends what kind of comic buyer you are. Okay, so to me, in all the time that I've been doing this, I've identified 5 tiers of comic book buyer. Okay, there are 5 different types of comic book buyer. From top to bottom, in terms of interest in the book, lowest to highest. Okay. Number one is the pure speculator. A pure speculator doesn't care if it's a comic, orange futures, an NFT, plungers, a truck full of DVDs. They don't care what it is. It's an asset that they're buying to flip. So they see there's going to be a Carnage movie.
Comic-Con.
Right? Yeah. So they see there's going to be a Carnage movie, right? So they go, I'm going to buy 109.8 slabs of ASM 31. I'm going to hold on to it for the short term. And the second it looks like it's the highest on a graph and I think it's at its peak, I'm going to sell all 100 of those copies. They don't give a shit about books. Below that's the investor. The investor is somebody who wants to hold on to it long term. They're looking to diversify their portfolio. They're thinking, I'm sitting on whatever, $5 million. I don't want to just have that in the S&P getting minimal returns. I don't want to, invest in something. I want to get a hard asset that I like. I like comics, so I'm going to pay $5 million for a Superman 1. I'm going to pay $5 million for an AF-15 high grade. The investor is holding on to it for a long time. They have a long-term plan. They're not watching the daily values of it fluctuate. Tier 3 is the dealer, somebody who does, like myself, who does it full time, who loves books. I do care if it's an orange future or a plunger. I actually love books, but you have enough business acumen that you can do it for a living. I'm going to skip the second one and go to the last one. The last one is the pure collector. A pure collector does not care about the value of the book. They're buying books that they like. So they're not buying it hoping, I'm getting this for 500. I'm going to flip it for 7. They're willing to pay a good price to get a book they want just so that they can own it, and that's it. The second one from the bottom is what I think represents the vast majority of this community, the vast, vast majority of comic buyers. And those are the self-funders. It's like a hybrid between a pure collector and a dealer. It's somebody who wants to collect books, and they're buying books in order to flip to buy more books that they want, to flip to buy more books that they want. And that has now taken over. It used to be mostly just dealers and collectors, and that was it. Then the investors came in, the spec people came in because there was money there. But it used to be just dealers and collectors in this dance together. But Instagram, eBay in the late 90s, YouTube, and especially now Whatnot have made it so that almost everyone who collects is a self-funder. There's somebody who's buying. If they're buying a book that they think they want and they think it's going to be good, they'll buy 5 copies, the one they want, and 4 to flip so that they can use those profits to buy another book. And I can't tell you, every single show that we do, Max and I do on Whatnot, no less than 2 people in the chat every night will say, guess what, guys? I just got approved to sell on Whatnot. Guess what, guys? I just got my onboarding. And we're going to get to the point at which everyone's a seller.
Yep.
Everyone's going to be on Whatnot. There's going to be no one to watch and buy because it's going to be all of us in there selling going, where is everybody? They're in their own show.
You're just going to be trading inventory around.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, yeah, that's what's going to happen. You're going to be trading around inventory.
Yep. I'll wait until eBay Live comes out. So
I think that's going to be a game changer a little bit.
It will be. I don't know if
it's going to be the same thing that's happening to Whatnot. The big sellers are going to swallow up the little guys.
It's funny that is it Remy or RMI? Which one?
Either one's fine, or James, whatever.
Okay.
Or Vegan Jesus.
There you go.
So when I got into this, like about the 3rd month in that I started doing this, I was seeing books bought and sold a lot because my buddy's got a little small startup comic shop. So that's where I got my comic influence. So I was seeing the bought and sold books, and I'm looking at titles and stuff like that, and the different style art, and I'm like, this literally is a physical stock. It's a physical stock you can hold in your hand, and determining on how good of a condition you keep that stock is what you could trade it off for. But you got to know when to trade it off. And I'm going to say I fit in the category of your second, that I like the book, I want to buy it, but there may be a little something here later on, but I love the book. That's probably where I stand. But in the same stance, I look at it as a stock.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people put money into Bitcoin, and man, they don't ever see it. They just see a number. They don't have it.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a physical asset.
Yeah,
I may
it's
be
a
wrong,
physical asset investment, man. It's like if you bought gold coin, man. I mean, it's right there. You can hold it in your hand or hang it on a wall. I mean, you know.
I enjoy my books. I love looking at them, and it's hard to get rid of them.
Yeah,
there's no wrong way to do it. You know,
if you're buying what you like, you can never lose.
Yes,
get the best price you can.
Exactly.
And here's another thing for folks that are watching book prices drop and they're panicking because we're in a bear market right now because of inflation.
Yeah,
you cannot lose money. You cannot lose money on something you don't sell.
Yeah.
So if you bought a book for $500 and it kept going up and it went up to 1,000, but now it's dropped to 300. You didn't lose $200. You still have the book. You cannot lose money unless you sell that asset. And what happens is in a bear market, people panic. They think it's going down. They sell. Smart people go nom 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 and buy that stuff up.
Yep.
You cannot take a loss on an asset you don't sell.
When it goes down, you buy.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and parlay this into a topic next week.
Okay.
So
we really do have another show in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I do want to talk about.
Really? My bad.
Yeah, we got to go over to Poser. I do want to talk about blue chip books next week because now is an excellent time
to buy
blue chip books.
Buy books.
Yeah,
now.
because
What's up, Cam?
I was going to ask RMI a question because that's one thing that I really didn't understand. And since you guys were talking about this, I want to get this question right before we leave the show. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I was always looking up on, like the John Constantines and the Swamp Things, right? When I sold those books, I sold them at a pretty good price at a pretty fair market, right? Yep. And when you said that the movie doesn't do nothing to him in the show, that's right. But I had a customer that wanted to get a Swamp Thing, and I looked, and he loves John Constantine, right? It's a personal friend of mine. So I looked up those books, and those books are steadily rising since the last time I sold them. Now, what's the difference between? That's what I was getting while scratching my head. So some books may take a dip, and some books continue to climb up, and they just stay.
Well, the Swamp Things. I'll tell you the exact reason. The Swamp Things. They're getting ready. They're in pre-production for a new John Constantine.
Oh, okay. That's one.
That's honest to God one of the exceptions right now in the moment. But like most books are like you can go get a Hulk 180 or a Hulk 181. Those are like to me, those are like blue chip comics, right? But they're still a little on the dip that right now, Giant Size X-Men 1. Like those are both blue chip comics for sure. They're not high tier blue chip, but they're blue chip and they're getting attainable.
They are.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
yeah. Listen, during the boom, X-Men 94 skyrocketed.
Ginormously.
Skyrocketed, and now it is way back down. It is an outstanding time to pick that book up. But there are levels of blue chip. Okay.
That's what we got to get into next time.
Well, I'll hold it for next time.
Next week.
Yeah, that is the answer to your question, Cam.
I have a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Complete noob here. Okay. Explain. So when you say blue chip, I think of a slabbed comic with a blue title.
No. So it's in reference to stocks, right? The stock exchange, right? You have blue chip stocks, right? That actually have a nominal gained value of recurrent repetitive increase over a period of time, right?
Okay.
They show a continual growth over and over and over and over, right? Year after year, maybe a little dip, but it's still going up in value continuously. That's where the term blue chip comes from, is actually from the stock market, because comics are just like you said, stocks that you have in hand.
It's a physical asset, exactly right. And it is a matter of, but they are books that will never bottom out. Yeah, there will never be a time when one is going to drop back down to $10,000.
Yeah,
ever.
it's your
Barring
Action Comics 1. It's your Amazing Fantasy 15. It's those
Right.
first
Okay,
appearances.
books that when the market stops to dip a little bit are immediately gobbled up, as opposed to other books where when the market and Eternals #1 is just going to keep going down and keep going down. But with a book like that, any of these books,
Moon Knight 1 has done nothing but gone down.
Oh man. Oh man.
Well, they're not all going to be home runs.
Well, Werewolf by Night 32 is still holding pretty decent.
It's actually climbing, surprisingly.
Well, guys, I've gotten rid of some silks for 200, 250. Man, I'm hoping that book stays up there because sometimes you feel guilty. I hope this book doesn't hit.
It'll go back down.
The only exception that I have to my absolute non-belief in modern blue chips, okay, because I do not believe there's such a thing as a modern blue chip. I don't. Right. Especially when you're seeing, Delato ASM variants going for 45 grand. That's and Durjevic AF4s, UF4 is going for 45 grand. It's madness. That is not a blue chip. Can I foresee a time when that book is worth 5 grand? 100%. I can absolutely see that book going for 45 grand. That'll never happen with a blue chip book. No. But my only exception is just a basic first print of Spider-Verse characters, because Spider-Verse has huge cross-cultural appeal.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere. And the next Into the Spider-Verse film is going to be $1 billion film.
Yeah.
And so those are pretty safe bets, but I don't think any book post the 70s can be considered a blue chip book because there's just too much production.
Yeah, there are too many.
Well, I mean, besides your Hulk 181.
That's 70s, though.
Well, okay. Yeah,
will we also ask the same question in 30 years? If they were to introduce a new character tomorrow, right, and it has a good following, will we see that in 30 years that character is a blue chip character?
We've got plenty of characters that have been introduced in the last 30 years, 40 years.
The book will go up, but it can't become a blue chip book because bagging and boarding and holding books started in the late 70s. ASM 300 that everybody thinks is a grail book, First Venom,
right?
Is the most graded book in the history of CGC. There are 35,000 slabs of that book. Mm-hmm. There is never going to be a time when you hop on eBay and there aren't 50 of them available for you to buy.
In 9.8, no less.
9.8s, 9.6s, 9.4s. What do you want?
Yeah.
9.0s.
I see what you're saying because the production
nothing but inventory on that book. Whereas if I wanted Detective 27. I can't hop on eBay and click buy.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I ever have less than 3 or 4 ASM 300s at a time.
It's a
they're just not
book.
They're not hard to find, and they're not hard to flip.
I get them and I flip them quick.
Yeah, they're easy to flip.
What was that ASM? Was it ASM 19 RMI? You had on your last sale of the night with the bright yellow.
That's 16. The 16.
Oh my God, that was beautiful.
I got another one sitting right next to me.
Oh yeah.
All right, hey guys. On a serious note, before we
thank you for having me on. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, you're gonna send that to me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an awesome thank you.
Oh, that's so great. That's the first time Spider-Man and Daredevil met.
Shoot.
Appreciate you guys for having me on. I hope I didn't put anybody to sleep with all my woke talk.
Dude, you will always be my
woken.
You're always going to be my woken vegan. You're always my friend, and it will never change.
Likewise, brother. I love you.
I'd like to get into that talk with you one time when I can get my mic working. I was having horrible issues.
It's tough. It's tough to hear you, but we got 90% of what you said tonight.
Yeah.
I definitely will be getting a mic if y'all would ever have me on again. That'd be awesome. But I will be upgraded.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Anybody got anything else to say?
I do one thing real quick. Max Comics, they're at CGC.
Hey,
that's the best I can tell you. They are at CGC.
Perfect time to end on the note that the great Gorkum Demir will be signing at AMKM Comics in about a week. Everybody show up there. It's going to be a party. Absolutely, everybody who can make it, come.
He's going to be there.
He's going to
be there. He's going to be there. Wait,
he better be there.
Yeah. And this some be going to be there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Can you believe it?
There you go. There it
So-
is. July 15th and 16th. Everybody be there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for having me
Yeah.
on. I know you got to run to Posers.
Yep.
Thank
Say
you.
hi to
Thank you.
Posers
guys,
for me.
Appreciate it.
for having me on. It was awesome.
Absolutely, bro. Great to
man.
meet you.
And yes, sir. You as
Yeah,
well,
we'll
Mr.
see you around the
James,
chats
J1,
Oh,
Jelly,
absolutely, Zion. Good time,
AMKM.
All right.
You need to end with a. That's the one.
Yeah.